And my windshield exploded. It sounded like pow, pow, pow. I wasn't even sure if it was gunfire. It was so loud.
It was bricks, not bullets, that went through the front of this family's truck, who they say is responsible, why police say they may have been targeted.
As federal investigators try to learn more about the gunman in the Tennessee military shootings, the family of one of the victims is talking about their son and their loss.
99 degrees today. North Texas still waiting on the first official triple-digit day of 2015.
The news leader, broadcasting for all North Texas. Fox 4 News starts now.
A Plano family's trip home from the airport turned into a dangerous attack after they say 3 teenagers hurled bricks at their truck and took off. Good evening. I'm Richard Ray.
And I'm Natalie Solis. Dallas police tell the family the attack may be part of a gang initiation. Only on Fox 4's Zahid Arad is in North Dallas with the family's warning to other drivers. Zahid.
Well, Dallas police are looking for 3 teens ages 14 to 17 who they say maliciously targeted Kimberly and Kevin Rose. The mother and son were driving home from Love Field Friday night when suddenly they found themselves under attack by pieces of brick this big.
We were just minding our own business. And
Friday night, just before 10, Kimberly Rose and her son Kevin drove past Frankford Road on Midway in the far right lane when Kimberly made eye contact with the teen on the sidewalk.
I guess he was just kind of aiming at what he was getting ready to throw bricks at.
That's when Kimberly says that teen and at least 2 others targeted her family's truck.
And my windshield exploded. It sounded like pow, pow, pow. I wasn't even sure if it was gunfire. It was so loud.
We were just having a conversation, and then I just heard a loud pop as the glass broke, and I could feel it hit down the side of my neck.
We rolled all the way up through here.
You can still see skid marks where Kevin, who was behind the wheel, managed to stop the car about 100 feet away.
And I thought, we can ask those kids what just happened, what hit us. And then that's when I'm like, wait a minute. And they're not there.
Instinct told Kimberly to stay in the car, which may have been spot on.
We found out from the cops that was probably the best idea, is to wait till somebody got there, because they told us that sometimes it's a gang initiation and that they wait on you to get out and then beat you and take your money.
The teens took off down a nearby alley but left the family's 1992 pickup truck with nearly $1,000 in damage, including the windshield.
One of the bricks hit right there.
The side mirror.
One of the bricks or rocks hit right here.
And back window.
Financially pretty hard right now, and then this happened. It's a lot.
Kimberly, a single mom, just returned to work part-time after being off on disability. Affording repairs is impossible.
And it's just like, why? But I know there's no answer to that, because if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else.
Even though it's financially tough, if there had to be a target that night, the Rose family is glad it was their slow old farm truck that goes 35 miles per hour.
If anybody had been going faster like they do, or a smaller car, I think that it probably would have gone completely through the windshield.
Aside from small cuts, both Kimberly and Kevin are okay. Now, the family says investigators told them similar incidents have been known to happen in South Dallas, but only recently have they been started to happen here up north. Natalie?
All right, Zahid, so dangerous. Glad everyone's okay, though. Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, we were close to triple digits today. A lot of folks asking, since it felt so hot this afternoon, did we finally reach the triple digit mark for the first time this year? The answer is no. We got up to 99, and you can see those temperatures have now started to cool off since the sun has set. We're down to 88 in Denton and Alliance, 87 in McKinney, 91 in Addison, 89 in Duncanville, and still 92 in Arlington. We back out a bit here to show you the rest of North Texas, and it's all 80s and low 90s at this point. And if you can believe it, it still feels like nearly triple digits in the Dallas area thanks to the humidity. We are still in the thick of this high pressure system that's keeping a lid on any convection, any clouds, any rain from forming here in North Texas. And of course, that's going to keep us very stagnant in this weather pattern. So what you're seeing today, it's going to be around for a while. So what are our chances of finally reaching the triple digit mark for the rest of the week? Of course, we're going to take a full look at that 7-day forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Jen. Dallas County medical examiners have completed the autopsy of a 2-year-old girl who died after being left in a hot car by her parents Friday. Her cause of death will not be released until Monday at the earliest. The girl's parents say they left her in the car on accident after returning from a family outing. No charges have been filed against them at this point.
Lance Corporal Skip Wells was one of 5 Marines killed in a shooting spree Thursday in Chattanooga. Tonight, his father is speaking about that attack to Fox reporter John Roberts.
Skip has always wanted to be a part of the Marine Corps and help protect this country.
A choked-up Kip Wells speaking out on Sunday, remembering his son, Lance Corporal Skip Wells, who was killed during a series of shootings in Chattanooga on Thursday.
And Skip had a big heart, and he wanted to make a difference in the world.
The military was in Wells' blood. His great-grandfather, grandfather, and father all served.
It's kind of ironic. When I went to Desert Storm and liberated Kuwait, it just happened to be a Kuwaiti-born guy who took my son's life.
The gunman, 24-year-old Mohammed Yusuf Abdulaziz, was killed by police. Law enforcement officials continued to dig into his background to figure out if the attacks were terrorist-inspired.
Well, the FBI is currently doing a forensics examination on his computer, his cell phone, his travels to Jordan, which is right across the border from Syria.
Meanwhile, the debate continues over arming workers at military recruiting centers. Indiana Governor Mike Pence signing an executive order to amp up security at all National Guard facilities across his state.
As Commander-in-Chief, quite simply, I will not permit our citizen soldiers to remain unable to defend themselves and our citizens at facilities around the state.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill plan to introduce a bill as early as this week, allowing all military recruiters across the country to carry weapons. In Chattanooga, John Roberts, Fox News.
The family of a Texas inmate found dead in her jail cell has ordered an independent autopsy. Texas prison officials say 28-year-old Sandra Bland hanged herself with a plastic bag last week. She was arrested earlier this month in Waller County during a traffic stop. Witness video shows only the last 2.5 minutes of her arrest. DPS says Bland became uncooperative and argumentative. Bland's family and friends say she was looking forward to a new job in Texas and would never take her own life. Her family and her church in Chicago have started a petition to call for a full federal investigation into her death.
I think that when you say what has happened before an investigation has been completed, you're tainting the investigation. Thank you.
State officials are expected to release more information on Bland's arrest and death to the public this week. State Senator Royce West is also scheduled to meet with local and state officials to discuss the investigation. West has already requested the dash cam video of Bland's arrest to be released. DPS agreed to release that footage after it's been seen by Bland's family.
A little more than a dozen people gathered Sunday at the Waller County Jail where Bland was being held when she died. They said prayers for her and for the investigation into her death. Bland's family and those at the prayer vigil say they don't believe that she killed herself while in police custody.
Police say they've made an arrest in a triple shooting at a Fort Worth home. Eduardo Piscina is in the Fort Worth jail on a murder charge. Witnesses say an uninvited guest opened fire on people leaving a party near East Berry Drive around 1:30 this morning. One man was killed, 2 others hurt. The victims' names and conditions have not been released.
The Red Cross is helping nearly a dozen people now after an early morning fire tore through a northeast Dallas apartment complex. That blaze started just before 5 this morning on Slopes Drive, south of Park Lane. One man says he barely got his family out in time.
Well, I don't see that much. I see the fire in the top, and you know, I hear this morning somebody knocking my door really hard, and I said, "What's going on?" And when I started smelling the smoke, I see a fire in the top of my apartment.
No one was hurt. Investigators have not told us yet what started that fire.
Dallas police are searching for a 75-year-old man missing since July 5th. Rex Prater was last seen at First Baptist Church in downtown Dallas. They say he has high blood pressure, but no other known medical conditions. Former President George H.W. Bush was released from the hospital. He fell at his summer home in Maine last week and broke a bone in his neck. Doctors say it could take 3 to 4 months for his injury to heal. That could impact his mobility until then. Bush is 91 years old. He was also hospitalized for a week back in December after experiencing shortness of breath. Well, Dallas's Jordan Spieth is just one shot off the lead after today's third round at the British Open.
Tomorrow, Spieth tries to become the first golfer since 1953 to win the first 3 major tournaments of the year. Fox 4's Mike Ducey here with more on that. Hi, Mike.
Richard, Natalie, good evening. Jordan Spieth talks a lot on the golf course. Sometimes talks to his caddy, sometimes talks to himself. Today, midway through the third round, a mistake had Spieth talking to himself, yelling at himself, but it seemed to fire him up. He was red hot on the back 9 at St. Andrews. Here's the mistake, a bogey on number 9. Spieth clearly would not have it, but he turned his round around, if you will. Spieth with 3 straight birdies, 4 in all on that back 9, results in a 6-under 66. That puts him 1 shot out of the lead. 3 players share the lead at the British Open. Irish amateur Paul Dunne, Louis Oosthuizen, and Jason Day. Spieth, the Grand Slam dreams very much alive as he rests tonight in Scotland ahead of tomorrow's final round.
Very pleased. Yesterday was, well, I say yesterday. The combination of Friday and Saturday was a really, really tough round to play with time and conditions. I still left a lot of chances out there. I don't normally putt the way I did. Before I even went through my normal practice, I was out early putting today, trying to find out what it was. Just putted a little bit better today. I'm going to need to shoot a similar round, maybe just depends on the conditions, but really happy to at least get back into it.
Jordan Spieth tees off tomorrow at 8:20 in the morning, Texas time. That's 2:20 in the afternoon in Scotland. With a win, Spieth would become the first player since Ben Hogan 62 years ago to win the first 3 majors of the season. I'm Mike Ducey, Fox 4 News.
All right, thanks, Deuce. Texas-based Bluebell is expected to start testing production this week. That could start as early as tomorrow. Earlier this month, the ice cream maker announced it would start production at its Alabama plant. The company says the trial run would allow it to test new procedures, equipment, and training completed after a listeria outbreak shut down its facilities. Bluebell's return comes with a $125 million financial investment of Fort Worth billionaire Sid Bass. The company says it is not clear when ice cream sales will resume, but says it will start with 10 flavors in the half-gallon size.
He's already run successful campaigns for U.S. Senate. Now, presidential candidate Bernie Sanders rallying for support in North Texas. What the Democrat had to say during his stop today in Dallas.
Yes, we have diplomatic relations. We're going to have embassies, but there are some serious problems still to be solved.
Tomorrow's embassy opening in Washington, D.C. is a big step, but a former diplomat says U.S. officials have more to consider in the country's new relationship with Cuba.
1 case of West Nile fever in North Texas this year, several positive samples, but it wasn't long ago that the human cases here numbered in the hundreds. The peak of West Nile in North Texas coming up on Fox 4 News at 9.
Hillary Clinton remains the heavy favorite to win the Democratic presidential nomination in 2016, but she has a challenger that is firing up crowds across the country.
Today, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders drew an overflow crowd in a ballroom at the Sheraton Dallas Hotel.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the next president of the United States of America, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont.
Senator Sanders' appearance in Dallas is part of a southwestern road trip through traditionally Republican strongholds.
The reason I am here today is I do know that this state is controlled by Republicans, and I'm here with you to change that.
Sanders hammered what he called the growing wealth inequality in America and policies that have led to a shrinking middle class.
Are we content to live in a country where we have seen a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires, and yet we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country? You don't create the kinds of jobs we need unless working people have money in their pockets to spend.
Thank you, Greg.
Hillary Clinton spent much of her weekend campaigning in Iowa here at a House organizing party where she reminded voters that the United States was running a surplus when Bill Clinton left office and Republicans took control.
And if we had stayed on the economic path that my husband put us on, we would have paid off the national debt. Now think of what that would have meant. So we weren't shoveling money out the door to pay those who are our creditors, many of whom, you know, are foreign countries.
Clinton blamed the economic collapse at the end of the Bush administration on deep tax cuts that were pushed through by Republicans.
Then 9/11 happened. 2 wars happened. And we didn't pay for any of that. We borrowed money. We borrowed money, more and more of it.
Bernie Sanders has surged a bit in the polls, topping out at 17% in one release last Wednesday, but he still trails Clinton, the heavy favorite, by more than 30%. Sanders has also raised just a tiny fraction of the campaign funds that Clinton has.
Listen, I don't have Black lives, of course, matter. And I spent 50 years of my life fighting for civil rights and for dignity. But if you don't want me to be here, that's okay.
No, sir, we want you to, you to be here and address that and all the other questions.
I don't want to outscream people.
Saturday night, Bernie Sanders was heckled by civil rights protesters during an appearance in Phoenix. They shouted down presidential contenders Sanders and former governor of Maryland, Martin O'Malley, demanding they address criminal justice issues and police brutality. Black Lives Matters demonstrators also took the stage. O'Malley was speaking with the moderator, addressing the Netroots Nation Forum, when he was again interrupted and said this.
Every life matters, and that is why this issue is so important. Black lives matter, white lives matter, all lives matter.
O'Malley later apologized for the remarks during an interview with the digital show This Week in Blackness, saying that he meant no disrespect to the black community.
Donald Trump says he does not owe John McCain an apology for disparaging comments about Senator McCain's military service, but other Republican presidential hopefuls say Trump should apologize. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker has repeatedly stated he's not going to criticize fellow GOP candidate Trump, but that all changed in Iowa Saturday after Trump dismissed McCain's status as a war hero during Vietnam, saying, quote, "He was captured. I like people who weren't captured." Walker decided he could no longer hold his tongue.
When it comes to attacking an American hero, I'm going to call that out. I denounce Donald Trump for that. He needs to apologize to Senator McCain and all the other men and women who've worn the uniform. That's just a disgrace.
Most every other GOP presidential candidate has voiced their strong disapproval of Trump's comments. Trump, of course, avoided service in Vietnam altogether with student and health deferments.
The Cuban embassy is gearing up to reopen in Washington, D.C. tomorrow after decades of severed ties. But according to one expert, more needs to be done. Former diplomat to Cuba, Wayne Smith, says serious problems are still standing between the U.S. and Cuba. Smith says the United States needs to lift its embargo on Cuba in order for ties to completely normalize. The U.S. Embassy in Havana will reopen on the same day Cuba plans on reopening its U.S. Embassy in Washington.
Secretary of State John Kerry will be on Capitol Hill this week talking with Congress about the Iran nuclear deal. A 60-day review begins on Monday. Kerry spoke to Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday about the arms embargo being lifted against Iran in 5 years.
We have many other sanctions still applicable, and we can bring other sanctions to push back against any of their behavior. They're not allowed to send arms to the Hezbollah. That's a separate resolution. They're not allowed to send arms to the Shia militia in Iraq. A separate resolution.
Pro-Israeli groups have waged a multi-million-dollar ad campaign to convince lawmakers to reject the deal. Defense Secretary Ash Carter is in Israel right now trying to sell the Iran deal to both Israeli and Saudi leaders. Greek banks will open their doors tomorrow for the first time in 3 weeks. However, there will still be a daily limit on cash withdrawals. 60 euros, that's about $66 a day. Greek citizens also won't be able to get cash from abroad with their credit or cash cards. They will, however, be able to use those cards to make purchases.
Things like this are divisive, and people that want to divide America use these monuments and flags as something to divide.
More frustration over a Texas monument with ties to the Confederacy. The future this group is suggesting for a San Antonio statue.
A bizarre death in Austin after a man was bitten by a cobra, now being investigated as a possible suicide. That's next on Fox 4 News at 9.
Austin police are investigating whether an 18-year-old pet shop worker used a cobra's venom to take his own life. Detectives are investigating Grant Thompson's death as a possible suicide after talking to family members and a venomous snake expert. A justice of the peace will make the final determination after an autopsy review. Thompson was found unresponsive in the parking lot of a home improvement store earlier this week. The cobra, similar to the one that we just showed you in that picture, was missing for 2 days before it was found dead along an interstate frontage road.
People gathered in San Antonio on Saturday morning demanding the removal of a Confederate monument in a downtown park. About a dozen members of the San Antonio Coalition for Civil and Human Rights. They met at the base of the monument for the Confederate dead. The group wants the statue to be torn down. Others passing through the park believe it is simply a historical marker.
Put it in a museum with the true context of what that stood for, and at the bottom of it say never again.
I mean, it's a monument.
These kinds of monuments and things, they recognize a time. We have a right to own our own history, right and wrong.
Coalition for Civil and Human Rights says it wants more community education on the Civil War instead of public monuments.
The debate over a North Texas high school's mascot is expected to be a hot topic during this week's Birdville ISD board meeting. A civil rights group filed a complaint to change Richland High School's mascot from the Rebels. Last week, students, faculty, and alumni rallied outside the Birdville ISD administration building in favor of keeping the name, as well as its team names, the Dixie Bells and Johnny Rebs, and its school logo. The school district board meeting is set for Thursday night.
Mosquito spraying will continue tonight in Burleson. The city started its first round of spraying last night. Crews will spray near Southwest Wilshire Boulevard between Wicker Hill Road and Forest Lane, as well as in neighborhoods north and south of Hidden Creek Parkway.
Just 3 years ago, North Texas was the epicenter of the worst West Nile outbreak in U.S. history, with close to 2,000 cases. Last year, there were 379 cases, and health officials want to see that number even lower. Heather Hayes has tonight's Whatever Happened To.
This is about personal responsibility.
In the summer of 2012, Dallas Mayor Mike Rawlings had an important request. He asked people to clean up the standing water in their yards and neighborhoods to help fight mosquitoes from the ground, while the city and county took on mosquitoes from the air by hiring Clark International from Chicago.
Last night was absolutely perfect, so we were able to get a lot covered in a short period of time. Everything that's been identified in the spray block has gotten coverage at least once. This will be the second round tonight, where we're going to be able to do another snapshot of the mosquito population and try and suppress the outbreak.
2012 was a record year for West Nile cases in North Texas, more than 1,800, including 89 deaths. So Dallas County sprayed and set mosquito traps, closely analyzing what they found.
Our preliminary information is showing us we're knocking down the West Nile virus causing mosquitoes, and that's the promising piece that we want to put out.
Just this month, North Texas had its first confirmed case of West Nile fever in Kaufman County, but officials there say they are not yet concerned.
So it's definitely not an epidemic state right now. It's something to watch, as we all should during this time of year throughout the summer. We just need to be good, citizens ourselves and take care of ourselves.
While Kaufman County is not ground spraying, many North Texas communities are, including cities in Dallas, Tarrant, and Collin counties where mosquitoes have tested positive for West Nile. Is there a story or person you've been wondering about? Call us 214-720-3195, post a message on my Facebook page, or send an email through our website. Heather Hayes, Fox 4 News.
A South Dallas nonprofit hit by burglars, ready to get reopened. How some North Texans are stepping into help.
The mercury didn't hit the century mark, but it sure felt like it, and then some. Coming up, how North Texans are surviving near triple-digit heat. Ice cream and a whole lot of shade. North Texans trying everything possible to stay cool as temperatures hover in the upper 90s. We are still waiting for that first 100-degree day, but the heat index has already hit the triple digits.
91 degrees on the thermometer as we get a live look outside from our tower cam at DFW Airport. Still pretty warm for 9:30 at night, but as Fox 4's James Rose shows us, if you're outside in the heat for any length of time now, you need to be prepared.
Volleyball may not fall into your category of extreme sports, but when you play it outdoors in this kind of heat, that's exactly what it is. Well, this summer hasn't spiked as high as it has in years past yet. Organizers of the 26th annual Spike Fest in Allen prepare well in advance of the event, and so do the contestants.
Hydration really starts ahead of time, days before the event, and then obviously through the event, and getting a good balance of making sure you replenish your electrolytes, and then also just water and keeping your body temperature down.
Tournament director Kirk Perry says heat exhaustion is a very real threat for more than 1,000 participants. Saturday, one player went down.
Thought he did well, and it was the end of the day. Sun's starting to go down, and full body cramps. Ambulance, paramedics come out, so you think you got it, and it's just that quick, your full body cramps up.
Mihal Welk is from Poland and has only been in North Texas a couple of years, and he knows the heat is a critical factor. His team is the defending champions and have 4 players to rotate one in and out when necessary.
It took me a while. Definitely the first summer I played here, it was 2 games and I was pretty much done.
When I'm standing out in the direct sunlight, it's it's hard.
For these players, there's never too many tents or coolers or even jugs too big to bring. Some tents have more than just shade. This one has a fine water mist, making it almost feel like an outdoor air conditioner.
Honestly, it's pretty tough, but we just come out hydrated, make sure you hydrate before. We all have towels, ice, everything. So anything we can to keep cool, and we all stand underneath the tents while we're off, and umbrellas, towels, whatever you can to keep the sun off of you.
And aside from being hydrated in this heat, there are other considerations.
I didn't really understand how hot it was going to be until I think it hit about 2 o'clock. That's when it really took a toll on my shoulders.
A clear sign it's not quite 100+ degrees is the fact that there's no line outside of this snow cone truck. The best way to beat the heat is to be in the water, and these kids are making the most out of Splash Park in Allen.
It feels very hot. It's ridiculously hot. Without the water, it'd be miserable.
James Rose, Fox 4 News.
A few North Texans are doing their part to help a South Dallas nonprofit hit by burglars get back to business tomorrow. Last week, we shared the story behind the burglary at Kathy's Sunshine Outreach Center. Several Fox 4 viewers have already helped replace and repair some of the damage. Today, other nonprofit groups help collect food and funds at a local grocery store to help the center out.
We just felt the need to come out and to help her any way we can. And one thing we do, we teach our young people learn how to give back and serve, and that's what we're here today. And we're just excited to be able to be there for someone else.
Kathy's Sunshine Outreach Center serves free lunch to low-income kids and seniors. The center plans to reopen for business tomorrow.
A proposal to bring a Muslim cemetery to Farmersville has stoked fear among some of the residents there. The Islamic Association of Collin County says it needs the cemetery because it faces a shortage of space to bury members. But some in Farmersville are actively trying to block the project. Town's mayor calls it the worries unwarranted, says the cemetery will be approved if it meets development standards.
Residents affected by the severe storms and flooding earlier this year will be able to ask FEMA and state workers about assistance tomorrow in Denton. A recovery center will be opened this week at the Denton County Emergency Operations Center on Teasley Lane. On Monday, the center will be open from noon to 6 p.m. It will be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
The southbound President George Bush Turnpike entrance ramp from westbound I-30 will be closed tomorrow from 9 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Maintenance work on the roadway there. Message boards will be placed along the route to alert drivers of the closure.
The heat is here to stay. We still haven't seen the triple-digit mark, but I think we'll hit it this week. A full look at a very warm forecast is coming up after the break.
Bill Cosby has yet to be charged with a crime, but in newly released legal documents, he speaks candidly about multiple sexual encounters and how he hid them from his wife.
Looking for a novel way for your kids to beat the Texas heat? Well, this week's Lone Star Adventure could be a great option.
I'm Mike Ducey, inviting you to stay with us for Sports Sunday coming up at 10 o'clock tonight. Dallas's Jordan Spieth right in the thick of things, entering the final round at the British Open. What Spieth must do to win his third straight major and keep the Grand Slam dream alive. That's ahead tonight. Plus,
there's no doubt the Cowboys have a good shot, a great shot at getting to a Super Bowl.
Hall of Famer Michael Irvin in studio with thoughts on the Dez deal, the dilemma at running back, and some personal thoughts on his son following in his footsteps and dealing with difficult times as well. That and the Rangers and Astros series concludes. Great pitching performance, and it does not come from a Ranger. We'll see you on Sports Sunday at 10.
Triple-digit heat. It's summer in Texas. Good reason for Lone Star Adventures to go looking for some cool stuff to do. And we found it at a different kind of water park. We're headed to Grapevine, Legoland Discovery Center, and Pirates Beach. Legoland Discovery Center opened Pirate Beach for a few weeks late last summer, then again in May. It's designed to be a seasonal attraction that runs through October, a way to beat the Texas heat.
We're really excited because it's the first of its kind at any Legoland Discovery Center in the world. There's 30 interactive water spray features, spraying thousands of gallons of water. There's a 50-gallon bucket up top, dumping on kids every few minutes. and then interactive soft bricks that kids can build and play with, build whatever they want. So the whole idea is that Captain Redbeard's ship has crashed off the beach here. They've taken, him and his band of pirates have taken the pieces from the ship and they've built this fort right here in Grapevine, right here on the beach. These are soft bricks. These are Lego pieces made big. They're rubber, so they're soft, they're easy to play with, they lock together. Kids, we have bases here on the ground, they can build sand castles or whatever fun stuff they want to build.
Andrea Lyman has 2 children, ages 4 and 8. Mom and the kids are all giving it thumbs up.
We got here about 10 minutes to 11 and they haven't stopped running since we got here, so I think they like it.
I think it's awesome. It's a great place to come cool off.
Kids love water and they love Lego, so we thought it'd be a perfect combination to bring these two together. Texas, it's hot, and this is a nice, relaxing way to get outside and get wet.
It's a blast.
For more on Pirate Beach at Legoland Discovery Center, check it out on our website. You can find dozens of Lone Star adventures at fox4news.com. Click on News, find the Lone Star tab, bookmark, visit often. That's a Lone Star adventure for a little younger crowd than we
It looks like a
usually do.
blast, though, and perfect for this triple-digit heat that we have coming up here.
Anything that you can do to either stay indoors or go outside and then stay cool is the way that people are really focusing on being outside right now, because it was hot this afternoon. We saw temperatures yet again near the triple-digit mark, and in some places we did even reach the century point. But right now, finally, temperatures starting to cool down bit by bit. We're back down to 92 in Arlington, 87 in McKinney, Fort Worth at 92. Dallas, you're sitting very comfortably at 93. Those southerly winds still peaking at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, just enough to make it a little bit more comfortable out there. Humidity starting to come up because the temperature is coming down, but the dew points held pretty strong at 67, which is the reason behind some of the higher heat indices that we saw this afternoon. Across the rest of the area, 80s, 90s, not surprising. Pretty much the same kind of cool down we saw at this time last night. Helping to keep us a little cooler too are the winds once again between 5 and 15. Those should decrease to about 8 to 12 as we go into the evening hours. Let's take a look at the big picture here when it comes to the United States. We've got a lot of systems causing issues all across the area. We had thunderstorm warnings in the Ohio Valley. We had a tornado warning in New York State earlier this afternoon, thanks to some storms moving through there. Then, of course, we have some monsoonal storms, and then we have some of the moisture that's filtering in here to Kansas and moving its way across the area. This is going to continue to push east, just clipping our area. Unfortunately, not going to see any moisture from that system here in North Texas. It'll be just across the Red River, almost within reach, but it won't quite make it here. Looking at the highs today, we got up to 99 at DFW for the second day in a row. You can see there 97 in Terrell, 96 in Gainesville, 96 in Bridgeport, and 99 in Cleburne. By the way, we saw highs reaching up to 100 degrees in the Fort Worth area as well today. So not at the official area that we take the temperature at DFW, but still getting up there today. Okay, so what happens this evening? We get towards just after midnight, temperatures back down to 87 degrees. Tomorrow morning, once again, the coolest time of the day will be between 6:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. We'll be in the upper 70s and low 80s. A nice warm up tomorrow afternoon, back into the mid 90s by lunchtime, and then of course near that triple digit mark as we go into the evening. See that storm I was talking about that's going to clip us just to the north? You can see it there by 5:30 p.m., though it stays in Oklahoma as we go into the evening. Now, what about tomorrow's forecast? We're keeping it hot, folks. 100 degrees is what we're forecasting. I think we'll get it tomorrow. I mean, third time's the charm. You got to think that. Lots of sunshine, though, very few clouds in the sky, and of course for the next 5 days. If we don't hit that triple digit mark tomorrow, we have plenty of chances over the next few days. 100 on Tuesday, 99 on Wednesday, and how about 101 on Friday? If that's not warm enough for you, we've got more triples in the 7-day forecast. 102 is the warm one on Sunday, so of course next weekend. Can't stress this enough. Make sure you're staying cool. 101 Saturday, and once again 102 on Sunday. Only one day not being in the triple digits if we stay true to the forecast, and that's on Wednesday as we have a few more clouds pushing into the area. But hey, it's that time of year. No big surprise.
Easiest forecast ever. Thanks, Jen. A shark goes on the attack on live television. How one champion surfer gets the upper hand. That is coming up on Fox 4 News at 9.
A transcript from Bill Cosby's deposition nearly 10 years ago reveals the actor defended himself in a lawsuit and admitted to paying women after sex to keep the affairs from his wife.
Fox's Brian Yennis has more on that report from the New York Times.
The New York Times exclusively obtaining a 1,000-page transcript from Bill Cosby's deposition from 2005 and 2006. In it, he candidly defends himself in a lawsuit filed by this woman, Andrea Constant, a former Temple University employee who alleges he drugged and molested her one night at his Pennsylvania home in the early 2000s. In the deposition, Cosby calls her a liar, saying the only drug he gave her was Benadryl. He talks openly about his mentor-mentee relationship with her and says their, quote, sexual encounter was consensual because of her nonverbal cues. I think that I'm a pretty decent reader of people and their emotions in these romantic sexual things, whatever you want to call them. Cosby went on to talk about having what he called sexual rendezvous with at least 5 other women, though he says he stopped short of sexual intercourse with women because he didn't want them to, quote, succumb to more romance. He admits using powerful sedative drugs called Quaaludes to lure women for sex, insisting, though, they all knew about it. Cosby went at length to keep these women quiet, paying them through his agent, even offering to write a personal check for Constant's education, all behind his wife Camille's back. My wife would not know it was because Andrea and I had had sex, and that Andrea was now very, very upset, and that she decided that she would like to go to school or whatever it is. I would say to her that there is a person I would like to help. Cosby continues to deny accusations of rape by dozens of women and has yet to be charged with a crime. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
Ant-Man kept Marvel Comics' box office winning streak alive at the weekend box office.
Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man.
The superhero flick earned an estimated $58 million. Minions slipped to second place, followed by Trainwreck, Inside Out, and Jurassic World round out the top 5.
An international surfing competition in South Africa was canceled today after a shark attacked one of the finalists on live TV. Here's the video. It is amazing. 3-time surfing world champion Mick Fanning from Australia was competing in the J-Bay Open Surf event. You can see the shark knocking the surfer completely off his board. Fanning thrashes around, somehow is able to fight off the predator. Here's what he told reporters just minutes after that attack.
I was just sitting there, I was just about to just start moving, and then I felt something grab, got stuck in my leg rope, and I instantly just jumped away, and then it just kept coming at my board, and I just was kicking and screaming, and wow.
Fanning was picked up by a safety boat. Amazingly unharmed, the World Surf League canceled the remainder of that event. Former mayor of Colleyville is the subject of this week's Fox Forward. She and a humorous book she's written about the perils of middle-aged love, dating, and marriage. That's straight ahead on Fox 4 News at 9.
The search for true love can happen at any stage in life, and a North Texas woman has written a handbook for ladies who are dealing with dating and marriage during middle age and beyond.
The book, Cinderella Has Cellulite, is starting to cause some buzz in the publishing world. Dan Godwin takes a look in tonight's Fox Forward.
It's great to welcome Donna Arp Weitzman, a former mayor of Colleyville and more recently the author of Cinderella Has Cellulite and Other Musings of a Last Wife. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Dan.
You initially self-published this book, 2,000 copies. Now you have a publisher. The book is stocked by Barnes & Noble as well as Walmart.com. It's selling in airports and many independent booksellers. Started out as a personal diary of your experiences becoming the last wife or second wife to your current husband, but then other lady friends, started sharing their stories of dating and love and relationships and marriage when you're not the first wife.
Right. Well, I hope I'm the last wife. I think we all hope we're the last wife. But it started out as sort of laughing at some of the things that hurt me through the years when I was dating, some pain with tears, and I thought, I'm not going to get too upset about this, I'm just going to laugh about these things. And so that's how it started, and I started writing it through just a satirical view. And then my girlfriends, I would kind of be like, do a reading for them, and they thought it was funny, so it eventually became a book of my stories and my girlfriend's stories.
It's been described as a mature Sex and the City, humorous book that sometimes delves, as you say, into some uncomfortable truths. The title, Cinderella Has Cellulite, meaning everybody wants the dream.
That's right.
Of that true, lasting love, but along the way, the process can leave behind scars and bruises.
And a few bumps along the way.
Among the issues you delve into, if he's rich, you're a witch, dealing with married money issues. Rings and blings, is yours smaller or bigger than the ex's, and what does it all mean? And when you're not the first wife, you have former spouses, former in-laws, children from previous marriages, friends on every side. The territory can get pretty challenging.
The road can get a little bumpy along the way. And so it's sort of an advice book written in a satirical manner, not to tell you what to do, but just to be aware of certain things. But we need to keep hope, and the book gives hope and always talks about throughout each chapter, and the chapters are small, almost, as you said, like a mature Sex and the City. But, when we're having a downside, the upside's so great. And so we have to keep remembering that.
Donna Arp Weitzman, the book Cinderella Has Cellulite, available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and lots of other places. Thanks again.
Thank you, Dan.
Michael Irvin stopped by the studio to share his thoughts on Des Bryant and the Cowboys' upcoming season. Sports Sunday with Mike Ducey is next.
Let's look at that 7-day forecast. We're basically just hot all week. Yesterday is tomorrow, tomorrow's the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Yep, that time of year. Not surprising, it's summer.
There it is, 100 degrees. All right, tomorrow morning on Good Day, we're checking out the Solar Car Challenge at Texas Motor Speedway, featuring high schools from across the country, including several here in North Texas, plus an interview with the bands Earth, Wind & Fire, all right, and Chicago, before their concert this week in Dallas, and cooking with Chef John Thompson of Sugar Bacon Proper Kitchen. Get your Good Day started right here, 4:30 to 9, only on Fox 4. All right, Jen, thanks for joining us. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here. Thanks again, guys.
Come back anytime.
Oh, I will.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
And stay right there. Sports Sunday is up next.
Stay cool.
The following Fox 4 Sports presentation is brought to you by Clay Cooley Automotive.